Hello Transformers fans, welcome. This is David Lees and today I've got a real treat for you. Well, it's a real treat for you, it's definitely a real treat for me. On the 35th anniversary of this particular Transformers comic issue, we're going to do a review of the original G1 Transformers UK 1984 issue 4. And this holds special sentimental value for me. This is the first issue I ever purchased, or was purchased for me, for the princely sum of 25p. I still remember it well, even though it's 35 years ago, so that's kind of how much of an impact it made on me at the time. The option in the shop was to have the Beano or the Wizard or the Dandy or whatever, and I saw this brightly coloured, two robots, big guns, fighting it out, Optimus Prime versus Megatron. Where do you go from there? This was a fortnightly issue between the 1st and the 14th of November 1984. Here we are 35 years later, plus a couple of weeks. So this isn't the actual issue I owned. That's gone to merge with the Allspark or whichever since then. But I recently purchased this on eBay. It's not complete, but it's complete enough for me. The cover is loose, to say the least. But let's get started. And I have to say, this stands in stark contrast to the modern Transformers bold new era stuff. It's just much more appealing to me. There's so much more going on. You feel like you're part of a group, a family. There's a kind of a much more community spirit kind of feeling going on with this. Letters from the readers, who admittedly were 7, 8, 9 years old. A competition. So reckon you know your facts. You can have this quiz king. Letters. A promo for the A-Team. Hey, who doesn't like the A-Team? And a writer's letter of Ravage, very nicely done from the box art. Fact file on gears. Let's send your letters in for letters, drawings, requests, pen pal swaps to address. So pen pals and swaps. Hey, who remembers those? There's just much more going on. Machine Man is a big letdown. Well, there you go. Not everyone happy, but this is good. It was all about encouraging users, I keep calling them users, readers to write in a competition to win the soundtrack of the A-Team. Well, who doesn't want that? This is what appealed to me pretty much straight away, and we'll go straight in, is Megatron being so evil. And these lovely, really, I mean, they are dated because the whole thing's dated, it's 35 years old. But I love the way that you get these transformations. Can I get the autofocus to work? No, do it manually then. You get this idea of them transforming from their robot modes into their plane modes and flying off, and Megatron, Decepticons away. And there's just, I enjoyed the large number of actual characters involved. I really don't like the current Transformers with its constraint on just a limited number of characters. I like the fact that there were 7, 8, 9 Decepticons, even more Autobots, and they got on with it. It was us versus them, you know, whichever side you're on, stop them from winning at all costs. This, I have to say, is my favourite set of images from Transformers history ever. Optimus, somehow or another, floating himself up into mid-air, transforming. I bring you greetings from Cybertron. Sparkplug says this one's even bigger than Bumblebee. I was coming into this right from the beginning. I had no idea who Bumblebee was, but this one is clearly bigger. And not only the Witwickies, but the Rolands as well. Watch as Optimus transforms. And just this picture, you get the sense of scale. You know, Optimus is easily 6, 12, 8, 24, 30 feet tall. He's massive. And it's just big gun, loads going on. Alien robots coming down from another planet down to Earth. I had no idea of the backstory, just that here they were, they'd arrived. It's brilliant. Straight into a battle situation, because here come the Decepticons, one in black and one in white, and another one as well. Decepticon attack, Autobots prepare to defend this position. Action, commands, no messing around, even if it was black and white. They're all name checking each other all the time, which is really good for a 7-year-old, 8-year-old. It's brilliant. Even though I'd not seen read any of the previous issues, you immediately get an idea of what's going on. There's a Decepticon attack coming in. the Autobots transform. I thought the Decepticons transforming was great. The Autobots transforming even better, and have to go flying off. Lovely sense of perspective, scale, great. And even though it was in black and white, as I keep saying, much more involved, much more atmosphere, kablam, clang, boom, blam, and so on. Brief break to give you an advert to make a mandala. I never entered any of the competitions in the magazine. I was never going to cut my magazines up. So enter this free competition for a fighting chance. It says blue streak. Colour images. This was amazing. Even if they weren't the right colours, it was great to see Decepticon. So Sideswipe takes on Thundercracker, conveniently name checked by one of the other jets. More transforming. I've lost count already. I think we're up to about 10 transformations in this issue. Guns blazing everywhere. Lovely mix of high scale and low scale, low perspective, high perspective. None of this I realised at the time, just a straightforward slanging battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. Interesting bit of a robot roundup. Robots in popular culture in the early 80s. So here we are, Robo the Robot, Android, and how robots were actually a real part of life in the 80s. But back to this main story. Ravage versus Mirage, which was to become a long-standing battle. Brawn crashes in as well. It's great. I know I'm thoroughly biased, totally nostalgic, and everything else. But I just like the way that this is drawn. I like the way it's written. There's complete focus on the robots and 2, maybe 3 humans. Lots of sort of fighting, arguing, bickering. Megatron ploughing in. Lovely action-packed pictures. Each one tells the story. Each one is well drawn. There's a lot going on. I mean, it's basically a battle. It's just a single battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons. But there's so many nuances to it that's great. There's very little walking and talking. There's very little sitting and talking. It's just get on with it. Megatron, surrender the human or suffer the consequences. In a word, Optimus, no. Geronimo. So it's good. Yes, it's 2-dimensional, but even so, why do I persist in trying to reason with you, says Optimus, when the only language you understand is violence? Well, you know, it's definitely the way they are. Megatron, drawn in various guises. His face keeps changing quite a bit, and his artwork for his head isn't quite settled, but he's still definitely evil, definitely trouble, and they do indeed succeed in capturing Witwicky. So off goes Spike Witwicky, or Sparkplug. The Decepticons scoop him up mid-transformation. Lovely picture here. Really enjoyed this kind of artwork, half and half. Starscream takes Witwicky away. Decepticons away, we've succeeded. Another transformation, this time of the smaller Decepticons, or smaller alt modes. Megatron, Ravage, and they conveniently fly themselves into the airplanes. Lovely perspective shot of them flying off, and that's it, they're gone. I did like that the comic was consistently slightly darker in tone than the cartoon. The cartoon was always very glossy, everything was fine, we'll defeat the Decepticons. Here the Autobots are out of fuel, and it gets thum thum as they crash to the ground. And there is a risk of them actually dying and being defeated. How will they be able to rescue Dad when it looks like they can't even help themselves? So yeah, it was good. Really enjoyed this one. Really pleased to have my own copy. Yes, I'm missing the comic, sorry, not the comic, the posters in the middle. In my case, they went on my bedroom wall anyway, so it was no loss to not have them here. And it's definitely, in my opinion, a great start to the Transformers comic. I went back afterwards, picked up the collected comics versions, and then the complete works and so on that fill in the gap. Made more sense of this in context, but even without the context, huge scrap between 2 sets of robots, some planes, some cars, ability to transform. It's fantastic, and the bad guys appeared to be winning. I was hooked. I think my next issue was issue 8. I didn't get many of the next ones until I found a supplier I could rely on consistently. But yeah, brilliant. Really thoroughly enjoyed this. Machine Man seemed to be a bit of page filler, which we've since discovered it was. But Machine Man had the ability to extend his arms and legs, a bit like Mr. Fantastic or Mr. Tickle or whoever. It seems to be a goodie, misunderstood. In this case, he rescues this woman from a mugging, gives her a handbag or a purse back, and he doesn't understand because he's a robot and not like a human that they fear him. But he kind of gets away. I didn't really get much into Machine Man. The secondary strips in the Transformers comics were mixed. I particularly liked Robotics when it came along, and Zoids I think was possibly featured. I can't recall now. And Iron Man. Iron Man was good. So interesting to see what happens there. Love this. The Robot Watch. I had one of these. I don't think I paid $3.99 for it. I had a red one. But it had 3 functions: hours and minutes, month and date, and seconds. And didn't all digital watches of the 80s have those 3 functions? And then your opportunity to get into the A-Team, which for me followed a couple of years later. But yeah, really love this interaction with readers rather than just presenting them with lovely artwork and no story, which is what we're getting at the moment in the 21st century. It's not all progress. And then the conclusion to Machine Man, and my favourite picture again, there it is. I bring you greetings from Cybertron. So there you go. I do indeed bring you greetings from Cybertron, and I shall be back next time with a review of probably Transformers Galaxies 3, which is out in the near future on my timeline. So that'll be coming up shortly. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Please do leave your comments and thoughts about the 80s cartoons and 80s comics in the comment section, and I shall be back shortly with the next review. Bye for now.